Gaddafi was captured alive, pulled from a drainage pipe, wounded, disoriented, surrounded. Minutes later, he was dead. No trial, no execution order, no clear answer. To this day, one question remains. Who actually killed Muammar Gaddafi? On the morning of October 20th, 2011, the final escape attempt began. Gaddafi and the last of his loyalists formed a convoy on the outskirts of Sirte. Dozens of vehicles, pickup trucks, SUVs, some equipped with mounted weapons. It was not a long-term plan, it was a last attempt. They moved without headlights, engines running low, fuel limited, routes uncertain. The goal was simple: get out of Sirte. They moved slowly at first, carefully, trying to stay hidden between damaged buildings and broken roads, but they were already being watched. Above them, surveillance aircraft had been circling for days. Drones tracked movement constantly. Patterns, heat, change. Sirte had become quiet, almost still. So when the convoy moved, it stood out immediately. Within minutes, the decision was made. The first strike hit the front of the convoy. A missile tore into the lead vehicle. The explosion lit the road. Metal twisted, debris scattered. Seconds later, another strike hit the rear. The convoy was trapped. Drivers panicked. Vehicles collided. Some tried to turn back. Others stopped completely. Flames spread quickly. Smoke filled the air. The escape was over. Gaddafi survived. He was thrown by the blast, disoriented, injured but alive. He was pulled from the wreckage by his guards. They moved quickly, not in formation, not with direction, just away. They ran across open ground, away from the burning vehicles, away from the road. Gunfire echoed behind them. Smoke rose into the sky. There was no plan anymore, only movement. Some of the guards were injured. Some struggled to keep up. Some looked back. But they kept moving. They needed somewhere to disappear. Immediately. That's when they found it. A drainage pipe beneath the road. Concrete, dark, narrow, not designed for hiding, but it was there. Gaddafi entered first. He bent low, then crawled forward. The space was tight, barely enough room to move. Others followed. Inside, the air was damp, heavy, still. There was no visibility, only darkness. They stayed quiet, listening. Above them, the sound of movement grew closer. Rebel fighters had already reached the convoy. They saw destroyed vehicles, burning metal, bodies scattered across the ground. They knew this was not random. Someone important had been there. Then they saw the trail, footprints, blood. Leading away from the wreckage, they followed it, slowly at first, then faster. It led directly to the pipe. At the entrance, they paused, expecting resistance, weapons ready. One fighter threw a grenade inside. The blast echoed through the tunnel. Dust filled the air. Then silence. They moved closer. Inside the darkness, they saw shapes, movement. Then they saw him, alive, Muammar Gaddafi. They pulled him out. He stumbled, barely able to stand, his legs unsteady, his body weak. His face was swollen, his hair matted, his clothes covered in blood and dust. Witnesses later confirmed he was alive. He could respond. He could move. He was not unconscious. For a brief moment, everything slowed. The man who had ruled Libya for more than 4 decades was now sitting in the dirt, unarmed, unprotected. Then the moment ended. More fighters arrived. Then more. Word spread instantly. Phones came out. Calls were made. Gaddafi has been found. Within minutes, the area filled. There was no command, no structure, no authority controlling what happened next. Gaddafi was lifted and placed into the back of a pickup truck. There were no restraints, no secured transport, no clear destination, only movement. At first, the truck moved slowly. A few fighters climbed in. Others walked alongside. Then more people pushed in. Men climbed onto the sides. Others grabbed the back. Some reached toward him. Others shouted. Voices overlapped. There was no coordination. The truck slowed. Too many people. Too much pressure. Then the violence began. At first it was scattered, a shove, a hit. Then it became constant. Fists struck him. Rifle butts hit his body. Hands pulled at his clothes. He was pushed down, then pulled back up, then pushed again. There was no pattern, only emotion. Years of anger, Years of fear, years of resentment, released all at once. Gaddafi tried to sit upright. At times he appeared to speak. At times he raised his head. Then he collapsed again. Blood was visible, on his face, on his clothes, on the hands of those around him. The truck continued moving, slowly. But control was gone. More fighters arrived as it moved, each adding to the chaos, each trying to get closer. There was no single moment where everything changed, only escalation. What happened next is where the story breaks apart, because there is no single, confirmed version. Medical reports later confirmed Gaddafi died from gunshot wounds, one to the head, one to the abdomen. But those reports do not explain how those shots were fired, or who fired them. Some witnesses claimed it was accidental. They said fighters were firing into the air, celebrating, adrenaline, no control, a stray bullet. In that environment, it was possible. Weapons were everywhere, no discipline, no structure. But others rejected that explanation completely. They believed it was intentional, a close-range shot, fired deliberately, an act of revenge. There are accounts describing a fighter stepping forward, raising a weapon, firing directly, but those accounts conflict. No name appears consistently, no identity is confirmed. Another possibility is more complex, that multiple shots were fired from different directions, within seconds, in a space where no one had full awareness. In that kind of chaos, responsibility disappears, even to those involved. There is also the question of timing. Did the fatal shot happen immediately, inside the truck, or later? Footage suggests Gaddafi was alive during part of the transport, but not all of it. At some point, his movement stopped. His body went still. By the time the truck reached a checkpoint, he was dead. Doctors later examined him. They confirmed the wounds, they confirmed the time window, but not the exact second, and not the shooter. No official investigation produced a definitive answer. No one was formally identified. No one was charged. In the days that followed, videos spread across the world. Clips from phones, different angles, different moments, each showing part of what happened, but none showing everything. Some show him alive, others show him barely moving, some show violence, others cut off before anything final is visible. Together they form a timeline, but not a conclusion. Even today the question remains, was it crossfire? Was it execution? Was it both? One thing is certain, there was no plan, no coordinated decision, no controlled outcome. Gaddafi's death did not happen inside a system. It happened in its absence. For decades he ruled through control, through structure, through authority. In his final moments, none of that remained. No state, no command, no protection, only a crowd, only movement, only chaos. For some, his death was justice. For others, it was unfinished. A trial could have revealed answers, decisions, orders, history. But that moment never came. Instead, his life ended in motion. In a vehicle, in a crowd, in a moment no one controlled. So who killed Gaddafi? There is no confirmed name, no single answer, no final conclusion, only fragments, witnesses, footage, conflicting accounts, and one fact that remains unchanged. Gaddafi was captured alive, and within minutes he was dead. Not because no one was there, but because too many people were.